Quan, I got to tell you this dad joke.
All right.
How do you follow Will Smith in the snow?
How?
You follow the Fresh Prince.
I like that one.
See, solid.
I like that one.
Little Gen X love there.
I like that one.
All right. Well, I got one right. Hopefully that means the MoneyWise FAQ will be solid.
For sure.
So Sean, one of the questions we often hear from employees is, how should I fill out my tax forms?
This is a great question, Bobby Joe, and one of the questions that I dread receiving, because the answer is, it depends. Everybody's tax situation is different. I don't know necessarily for an employee if they have dependents, or if they work 2 jobs, or if they have other income from non-employee income, or if they qualify for more deductions than standard deductions because of home ownership or healthcare costs or any number of things. So filling out your tax forms appropriately, your W-4 or whatever your state form is, can be very complicated in terms of how to answer that question. So when an employee asks us, that my first answer is, it really depends. There are a lot of factors that go into it.
Are there any tools out there to help?
There are some tools, and I'll talk specifically about for the federal form. When the federal W-4 changed in 2020, the IRS did put on their website a calculator that can help an employee calculate how to fill out the W-form so that it's turned in correctly to their employer. It does require that you have some information about what your overall salary is and some of those kind of tax prep questions, but it does give a relatively accurate number in terms of how to fill out that form and what you need to have withheld.
Besides the tools, are there any other methods that someone can use?
There are some other methods. You could go old school and calculate it out on the W-4 form itself. It has the instructions on there. You can take pen to paper or pencil to paper and go through the math. You can also look at what your tax liability was last year, and you can make sure that what's being withheld from your check this year is going to be enough to cover that same tax liability this year. Tax rates change minimally year to year, so oftentimes if situations don't change for an employee from one year to the next, you don't necessarily need to make a change. So if the numbers worked before, they may work again this year. And of course, you can always guess, but that may not net you the result that you want. If you guess on how to fill out that form, you can end up being either under withheld or over withheld. It used to be that a lot of folks said, well, it's safe to claim single and zero. I'll have the most withheld as possible. Depending on what you're making and if it's a second job, you can actually get some answers that aren't the right answers if you don't take the time to make sure that you fill out the form completely and correctly.
I think that's all very good information. I normally advise as well, definitely check it every year. Annually, double check all your stuff. Anytime there's a life change, if you get a raise, if income changes, you get a second job, add a child, take a dependent off, get married, all of those things affect everything. So it's definitely a good idea to always double check, go back through it, make sure you're where you want to be.
That's a great point, Bobby. You should make sure that you are reviewing your W-4 status and your local form status every year and anytime there's a life change. Those are great points to remember. If you have questions about this or any other payroll-related matter, please feel free to reach out to us at MoneyWise Payroll. My name is Sean.
My name is Bobby.
And this has been a MoneyWise FAQ.